Hey, what's up, guys? This is Cowboy Mike. On this episode that I recorded on Christmas Eve, I've always wanted to talk about some of the quotes that I have up here on the walls. Since I have to work pit tonight to get stuff ready for the morning, I thought I'd take this opportunity to kind of talk about at least one of them. If you hear any noises during the podcast, just remember I am working the pit. I don't know exactly what I'll need to do. I need to. So just bear with me while we get through this. I'll see you guys on the other side. Let's jump right into it. Hey, what's up, everyone? Cowboy Mike here. We are doing yet another little different thing. So, it's Christmas Eve, and I'm going to try to release this podcast Christmas Eve as well. However, I am working the pit tonight, and normally when I have someone here, I'll have a conversation. Presently, I don't have anybody here with me, so what we're going to do is just try to record a podcast. I'm actually using a mobile Bluetooth headset, and I don't believe I've ever recorded a podcast using a setup like this, so I'm not really quite sure how it's going to turn out, but let's give it a go. Alright, so today's topic, let's talk about this phrase. I have this up here on the wall. It says, find something you believe in. Team up with like-minded people that you can count on, and then work hard. So once more, find something you believe in, team up with like-minded people you can count on, and then work hard. So what does that mean? Well, think about your life, or think about your friends or family members that have spent a lifetime working hard. Have you ever heard them say, I work so hard and I'm not getting anywhere, or I always keep getting screwed, and functionally they never get it. Quick note, since I'm working the pit, you're going to hear all sorts of noise, so I apologize for that. Just kind of bear with me. I'm trying to make good use of this time, recording a podcast and getting some stuff done as well. So anyway, people say they get screwed because they work hard and put all this time in. Things don't work out. Well, there's a couple different things. We'll start with the first component. Find something you believe. So this kind of relates to the passion principle in a way, but I'm not going to say it's something you're passionate about in terms of like a hobby. When I say find something you believe in, find something that you want to change about the world. That's kind of the stick. I just was listening to an episode with Anthony. I think it's the Thanksgiving episode. I think it's around episode number 13. I'll look that up, and I'll put the link to that show in the notes itself. And it relates back to one of the questions I ask kids. I don't ask them, what do you want to be? I ask them, how do you want to change the world? And the reason I ask them that is what you want to be is different than something you might want to change. Like what you can be, what you want to be is a little bit more limited. And to a kid, how do you know what you want to be, per se? Maybe you don't know. But most people can answer the question, this is what I see about the world, and this is what I want to change about it. Most people can answer that. So find something you believe in relates to finding something in the world where you can say, hey, I don't like this about the world. I think we could do it better. That could be any number of things. That could be, I'll give you some examples, the way education runs, the way businesses run, the way, certain programs that you're involved with run, the way sports teams are coached, things like that. So, or it can be you live in an area where there's a lot of pollution. Man, I think we could solve our pollution problem if we insert the blank. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Find something that you believe in. Find some sort of cause that will, if we were able to fix it, it would make a significant difference. So that's number one. Okay, number two, find like-minded people. If you have that thought to change something about the world, I'm pretty sure there's some people that are going to be like, hey, I get that, and I agree with that. And so you have agreement and you have alignment, because they don't want to change it because you want to change it. It's not about you, actually. It's more about them and how they experience the world, and how they might want others to experience the world as well. So you find like-minded people, then the next part is that you can count them. And there might be like-minded people that agree with you, and you can't necessarily count them, but they'll tell you all day that they agree with you, and you even look at their actions, and hey, some of those synchronize with what you believe in. So it's important to find the people that you can count. And we won't touch how you personally define that, because that can be any number of different ways. We'll just leave it where it is right now. Maybe in a later episode we'll tackle that one. And finally, once you have all those other things, that's when you work hard. Okay? So if you're missing any one of those components, I think you run into problems. Because if you find something you don't believe in, here's what can happen, or at least what I've heard and observed. So you're working really hard, and you have people that you can count on. You might be even part of a team, but you start to have the question, is it worth it? Like, why are we doing this? So without having something that you believe in, that's the kind of questions you run into. So that's why you need a very, very basic view of why you need that first item, something that you believe in. Because when times get tough and you're exhausted and you say, why are we doing this? I don't even know. Well, if you have something that you believe in, you'll know exactly why you're doing it. An easy example of that is parents and children. Why am I doing this? I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for my kids. Even something, why are you working so hard? You see some professionals say, well, I'm doing this. This one's in memory of someone that I've lost. They're doing it for a cause. Or even, parents sacrificing, they say, I'm doing it so that my children have opportunity that I did. So there's a reason. Okay, so then now on to the next part. So find like-minded people. I'm pretty sure the way you've run into this one is you've had an idea and you think, man, wouldn't it be better if we tried accomplishing this goal or tackling this task by doing it this way instead of the way that we've been doing it, right? Okay. Well, then in the work scenario, you may have heard, well, that's not the way we've done it. That's not the way we do it. Right. Except the reason why you had that thought in the first place is because you were perhaps having some difficulty, or even if you weren't having difficulty, you just thought, well, hey, I just went through this, or I'm watching this person go through it, and I can observe that they're having some challenges, and my potential solution is trying it this way. Cool. Process improvement, process innovation. It's really cool. I'm fairly confident you've run into the scenario where people say, well, that's not how it's done. That's not by the book. Okay, fine, but then if it's not working, it's not working. And especially if you dictate the rules, like in a company. Well, if it's not working and the rule does not suit you, provided you're not breaking any laws or anything, then change the rule. Like that's you see it as different things in different companies, like handbook development or handbook development, procedure review. It could be could be a whole slew of, have a whole slew of different names. So could be any of those things. So when you're running into those challenges, well, people just want to stick to the rules. People just want to stick to what they know. People want to, I don't know, it's tough, because change is hard, right? If any of you guys have ever seen the movie Pay It Forward, I don't remember the exact one. The kid basically says, sometimes it's scary for people to change, even if what's happening to them isn't good. That's not the exact quote. That's the gist of it. Yeah, like, change is hard. Change is scary for some people. There's the other side of that. Maybe people are just stuck in a habit, right? So that's why it's important to find, like I say, like-minded people. You have to find folks that are at least open to your ideas. And if they're not, you got to be wary about that, because there's people that'll say, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea," and really it's just a mechanism to hear what you're saying, but then they'll draw you back or get you back on the track that they want you to. So again, that's a completely different conversation. We'll get to that at some point. Let's see what that you can count on. And I'm fairly confident, and I hope that all of you have had the experience of belonging to a good team. It's those, you don't have to look, or you don't have to check, because you just know it's done. Another way of framing you can count on them is, they even understand that, like, you're human, right? And you might not get it right. But when you don't, they don't beat you up about it. So, again, we won't really get into that definition of how you can count on them. And then my last thing, I think everyone knows. You can have a great idea. You can have the right team, but if none of you are willing to translate that idea into action, or maybe only a few of you, in this case I would say maybe you're missing that people you can count on. But you can see when you're missing any one of those things, you're going to run into some problems. So I was listening to some older podcasts. Let me reframe that a little bit. You'll run into some challenges. And when you've been missing those things, I can almost guarantee you, if you're listening to this podcast, you run into this challenge where you're missing one or more of those things. But if you look at the teams you've been a part of, they're like-minded people, you can count on them, and you all worked hard, you all got things done. Probably, if there was a missing component in that scenario, it's just that something that you believe in, right? In good teams, that's often it. And that's where, like, companies really make out. They'll assemble good teams, or maybe they won't even assemble. Maybe they'll happen on really great teams. And these people believe in watching each other's back, get the job done, doing a good job, and companies really, really benefit from that, because they have all the elements of that quote I was talking about. And what the company does, it provides that reason, that's something to believe in. It gives you that reason to march forward. And that's got to be careful about that, because if the company isn't watching out for you, if it isn't taking care of you, right? I think people have heard it this way as well. I feel bad leaving the people. Well, that's good in a way, because you guys are trying to count on each other. I like that in general. Kind of the issue is, in that case, I would say that the company is entity that can't be counted on. So, they don't self-interested, right? And that's probably a huge debate. This whole conversation, this whole podcast, is up for a lot of debate and a lot of stuff like that. But guess what? If you're in a position in life, ask yourself those three things, right? I'm having a problem at work. I'm having a problem with this team. I'm having some challenges. Well, are you working towards something that you believe in? By working towards something, it's more of an ideal. Think about raising children. You want them to grow up happy, healthy, have better opportunity than you did, and that's literally an ongoing pursuit. You want to talk history, the American Revolution, right? Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And it's interesting that they said the pursuit of happiness. Without getting too in depth, because you can say that happiness comes from within, like so within, thus without. We're just gonna say it this way, though. You have to work at it, and it's not I achieved happiness and I'm done. Cross the finish line, finito. No, it's active work. You're always sliding. So, I'm telling you, if you're having those challenges, something's missing, and you kind of got to figure out what. I think if you're gonna put those things in order, find that thing that you believe, whatever that is. And the easiest way I found to put it is, what do you see about the world that you like to change? What do you want to change about the world? Okay? Find whatever that is. Number 2, find some people that think the same way. They're out there. 7.7 billion people on the planet. That's what I recall from my last Google search. There's some people out there that think the way you do. With the internet, and I know not everywhere has internet, but with the internet, you have a better shot than you ever did at finding these folks. Lastly, work hard. Once all those other components are in place, then you can work hard. If you work hard without something you believe in, you wind up with, well, how did I get there? Right? What are we doing? What's going on? Well, when you start with that question in the first place, you're already off into a better direction. And let's not kid ourselves. You'll learn stuff along the way and say, hey, my opinion's changed. So let's not discount the fact that can happen. But your opinion might not change about the what you want to change, but how you're going to go about changing it. There's another quote that comes to mind. It's be resolute about your decision, but be flexible on the method, right? So if you're setting out to change something, do something better, be flexible. Yeah, you still want to change what you want to change. How you get there may be different than you envision, and that's okay, right? That's okay. The invention of the light bulb went through many different iterations to get to something that really worked. So you have to stay flexible in that way. That's pretty much it, folks. This is my pre-Christmas podcast. So until next time, guys, this is Cowboy Mike coming to you live from the pit, the morning of Christmas Eve. Hope everybody has a great holiday. I'll catch you guys later. Bye now. Hey guys, this is Cowboy Mike. So glad you made it to the end of this episode. Definitely a little different. I've not worked the pit and recorded a podcast before. I hope you found this podcast insightful. If you did, please follow us on your favorite podcast app. And before you go, just one more thing. we are trying to grow the podcast. And we know that one of the best ways to do that is through word of mouth. So if you do enjoy the podcast, please share it with somebody that you think might enjoy it as well. Because word of mouth is definitely the fastest way to grow the podcast and something that you can easily do to help us out. So with that, have a good evening, good morning, wherever you are, whenever you might be listening to this. This is Cowboy Mike. I'll catch you guys later. And as always, be kind to yourself, kind to others, and remember to be compassionate. I'll catch you later.